Do you have an event-based personality or are you more of a clock-based person? This is a crucial question to ask yourself if you want to time block efficiently. See, I realize that I am more of an event-based type of personality, which means I don't really care about time, I care more about the activity. My schedule is run by the activity I'm doing. And this is something that I discovered that helps me time block a lot more efficiently. So if you're like me and you have an event-based personality and you've tried again and again to time block and you know the importance of time blocking, but it just hasn't stuck, I have one simple piece of advice that's going to help you make time blocking a lot more efficient, and it's going to help you do it better. But before I do, let's just talk about what time blocking is and the biggest problem everyone has. So time blocking is all about having a singular focus on one task for a set period of time with zero distractions. So Cal Newport of the book Deep Work and his podcast talks about this idea of context switching, and we want to avoid context switching. We don't want to be looking at emails while we're doing that research report or checking our phones while we're talking to somebody. We want to avoid all distractions, and this is the biggest issue with time blocking for most people. We live in a very distracted world where everything is a distraction. We're doing 3 or 4 things at once. People call it multitasking, but really just context switching. We want to avoid doing that. This is tough. This is what makes time blocking so difficult, but so worth it, because you can harness so much of your productivity by focusing on one single thing rather than having your mind be distracted by a bunch of different things. But I have no solution for distraction. The best way to get rid of distractions or having a distracted mind is to do the reps, right? To do time blocking over and over again and having a life of less distractions. I don't know, I'm always distracted. But what I want to talk about is not distractions, is 2 types of personalities we have. We have people who are in the camp of being event-based, and then we have people in the camp of who are clock-based. So someone who is a clock-based person is focused on time. They are better at having structured days. They can set up a schedule, and once 2 p.m. hits, they can move on to the next task. And then there are people who are event-based like myself, who are focusing on the activity. So the event shapes my schedule rather than time. And for someone like me, time blocking is much harder because I'm naturally a more unstructured person. Now, between these 2 personalities or these 2 styles, people can switch in and out of them when needed. So if I have a phone call or I have a meeting at 3 p.m. and I'm working on something at 2 o'clock, I'm going to stop and take that phone call. We can all morph into these 2 styles, but we all naturally have a tendency to be more structured or more unstructured, more time focused or more event focused. So I'll have a link in the description if you want to know more if you're a clock-based person or if you're an event-based person like myself. But I'm assuming by this point you're probably an event-based person and you want to know what my solution is. My solution is long time blocks. See, the common mistake I made is I used to do 4 or 5 time blocks in a day, and I would never adhere to these blocks. I would have 4 or 5 things I wanted to work on. I would set up 30-minute increments or use the Pomodoro technique, and it never worked for me. My schedule always screws up. I get lost in the activity, and I never get to do every single task. And this is something that I think a lot of us fall into. We think this is how time blocking works, and it does for some people. But for people who are event-based, this is much more difficult. You'll never adhere to all those blocks. So my solution to you guys who are event-based like myself is to set up 2 90-minute blocks. Now you might be saying, well, that's too much, Irfan, I can't do 90-minute blocks, I'll get distracted. And that's fine. Be distracted, get distracted, but get back to the task that you want to perform. The great thing about 2 sessions of 90 minutes is you have to really be essential on what you're going to be doing that day. So Cal Newport talks about this idea of slow productivity, which is the idea of working on something for a really long time and producing a great product. And I think this really, it should be the mindset. Thinking about 4 or 5 things you're going to do in a day is just too much. Pick 2 essential things, work deeply on them, and you'll be surprised how much progress you make and the quality of the end result. The other advantage of a long time block is getting into flow. So if you're doing a short time block, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it's just not enough time to get yourself oriented and to get into that flow state for long enough. I think that really helps you do really, really good work and be able to do it for a long time. No knock against the Pomodoro technique. I think the Pomodoro technique is great for people who are clock-based, but someone who's event-based, I don't know if it really works that well. So for me, for my side hustle, I try to do something from 7:30 to 9 a.m. before I start work, and then a little after work ends, or maybe a little before work ends, maybe like 4:30, I go until 6 p.m. and then I'm done for the day. So think about that when it comes to deep work. And just remember, time blocking is freaking hard. It is something that takes a lot of effort and concentration, and distractions do happen. Focused concentration on one thing without distractions. In this world, it's crazy for someone to be able to do this efficiently and on a consistent basis. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my assessment, and if you have any other tips for someone like me who has an event-based personality.